Hey there, I'm Lord Banchnex, and today I'm going to be covering a Gundam What If. What if Amuro Ray defected to the Principality of Zeon? Now, let's begin. Char helps Amuro out with his tire problem, like in the original, but Char mentions this because Char is able to sense feeling. He's like, "You're the pilot of Gundam, aren't you? Be honest, I'm not going to kill you." Now, Amuro is taken aback by this. For instance, with him basically being like the whole white devil of the Federation, he's expected to be killed by a Zeon ace, such as Char. However, Char is like, hey, let's sit down and talk. We don't need to be enemies. In fact, me and you both have similar goals right now. So, with this being said, due to Char and Amuro having a connection through Lala, we're going to have a new dynamic form between the two, the Red Comet and White Devil. First off, Char's parents were killed by Zeon, and I mean not Zeon, but the Zabi family, which are leading Zeon at this time. And Char is trying to kill all of them, the Zabis, except for Minerva. Minerva is actually safe due to her being 100% innocent and a child. Char is above killing children. Remember this. He might be down to drop an asteroid on the planet, but that's because he's not concerned with anyone on there. He can't see them face to face. But he will not kill a child. In fact, he loved Minerva Zabi as if she was his own daughter. Now, we're going to start this way. Lala and Char, they're sitting down in a cabin. And then Amuro opens the door and is like, hey, I'm here. And I do have a gun on me, so if any funny business happens, I'm safe. And Char's like, okay, that is understandable. You don't entirely trust me, do you? And I'm not going to fault you for that. And Amuro, being our new type, actually senses Char is not going to do anything. So he's like, okay, I trust you. Now, what was it that you wanted us to talk about? Well, Char replies, hey, you know how you met Lala, right? And on how she's kind. And then you know on how I helped you out with the kindness. Well, to be honest with you, I'm not entirely loyal to Zeon. Now, what this may mean is that Char is ready to kill all the zombies except for Minerva and Dolzel. Because remember, he respects Dolzel a lot. But at the same time, he has to kill him. So it's like an unfortunate little end for Dolzel. Now, Char is gonna be like, I also want to defeat the Federation. Because in this story, the Federation is not as nice and respectful to Amuro due to his victories. They see him as a dangerous new type. And this is proven in the future series slash sequel Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam. Now, what this may entail is that Amuro is willing to betray the Federation. Now, keep this in mind too. White Base actually is siding with Amuro on a lot of things. And guess what? White Base is also going to join Amuro in this endeavor. Now, to continue on, Amuro is actually going to be talking with Char. They negotiate something of a deal. Now, Amuro and Char, due to them being in a close relation, they actually have an idea. And that idea is to work together. So Amuro goes back to White Base and informs everyone on board that he has spoken with Char and that he met him. And Char is not evil. Char ain't even a threat to them anymore. And Captain Bright is asking why. Why is Char not a threat to us anymore? And it's simple. Because Amuro negotiated a deal between Char, Lala, and him, and along with all the White Base crew. And Amuro has got it where if they join him in assisting Char with killing off the Zabi family, along with helping Char destroy the Federation, that Char, Amuro, Lala, Bright, and Sayla will actually be able to create a new government, a neutral one, where Spacenoids and Earthenoids are equal and equally represented. New types and old types are treated the same, equal with representation, and that new types and old types be both respected by each other. So Bright is listening to this, and he questions Amuro, being like, "So you're planning to prove everyone at the Earth Federation that new types are not to be trusted?" And then Amuro snaps back, being like, "Well, the Earth Federation doesn't trust me and has basically been using me for their war to contain power over Zeon." And Bright actually is understanding of Amuro in this endeavor. So therefore, Amuro gets full support from White Base. So he goes back to Char because Char left a location for them to meet up at a certain time. And he informs Char that yes, White Base will be joining him and his fleet, his crew. So Amuro goes back and is like, "Hey, we gotta move over to this location. We're gonna be encountering a lot of Musai, but they're friendly. We're going to actually be giving Char's code to them." Now, we have our new force. This isn't necessarily the Principality of Zeon, nor is it Earth Federation. It's going to be called the Neutral Coalition of Space and Earth, or Earth Space Group, or ESG. Now, the Earth Space Group are actually going to be a peace organization that will be neutral, that will actually employ the use of new types and old types equally. Think about Orb, okay? Instead of coordinators, it's new types and old types. Now, going back to the main story. Now, the Elmeth, the Gundam, and Char's Gelgoog depart for Solon. And the White Base is actually going to be taking on the Salamis class ships. And everyone aboard them are going to be like, "What the fuck? Why is White Base attacking us?" And then then everyone is going to realize that they screwed up by not trusting Amuro, by disrespecting Amuro. And Amuro, along with a fleet of Zaku's, are actually going to be taking on the Gems and the Salamis. And Char and his Gelgoog, along with Lala and the Elmeth, are actually going to be assisting him. So Kai and Hayato are actually going to be helping out with White Base defending it against the Salamis class and the Gems. Now, one thing to keep in mind, Cassilia catches on to what Char has done, and she implores Char to continue, because little does she know, she's actually going to be on the chopping block. So Char tells her everything minus that plan to take them out. Now, one more thing that we will keep in mind for this part. Lala does not die. Not even close. In fact, the only one that dies in this timeline will actually be, I hate to say it, but it's General Rebel. He ends up dying this time. Because we always have to have a death. And General Rebel was killed after some conflict, because Char was told where General Rebel is, and he was publicly executed by Char. Now that Char has killed General Rebel, now no, this is a what if. And I'm going to be 100% honest. I haven't seen the original molds of Gundam. And with Rebel being executed by Char in this timeline, instead of freed by Amuro and the others, it's going to cause a rebel. Now, going forward, Lala and Amuro get into a relationship. Char sees this coming, but he doesn't bat an eye, because without Amuro's help, they wouldn't have won the Battle of Solomon. Now, Amuro is going to become a Zeon officer with the help of Dolezal, because Amuro is approached by Dolezal and is like, hey, you're the pilot of Gundam, and you took out so many of our units, and I'm kind of reluctant to trust you, but at the same time, you're a new type, just like all of us. So, I'm going to let that slide. In fact, I've been wanting to show you something. Something I was planning on using against you to kill your Gundam and you. But since you're on our side now, we don't have to worry about that. It's the Big Zam. Now, Amuro is actually going to be honored with the position to nominate 3 pilots for the Big Zam. Note, Big Zam is required to have 3 pilots. That's something I do know. Dolezal was the center pilot, meaning that he was the one that gave the orders on what it would do. But this time, it's actually going to be Sayla, Kai, and then on top of that, we're going to have our little trusty Hayato. And with this being said, those are going to be called the Big Zammers. Now, the solar system array is still used, however, it doesn't do shit against Zeon, because Sayla and her team will actually be taking out that and any ships that carry it. So it'll be impossible for the Federation to use and actually win. And then we're gonna go ahead to About Q. Char gets the Zeong, while Amuro gets his Gundam still. but this time the Gundam is actually painted in a Zeon color scheme, but still maintains the white. So think about instead of the yellow, blue, and red, it's actually going to be green with different shades and tints. So, Amuro along with this Gundam are actually going to be taking out a whole shit ton of Federation pilots. And Char with his Zeon takes out every one of the Federation ships. Now, that concludes the 1 Year War, where Char and Amuro were ace pilots. The White Devil of the Zeon's White Devil and Zeon's Red Comet. They execute their plan to Order 66 every zombie family member except for Maneva. Maneva is safe. Now that the Zeon government has fallen, we have now a new threat between the ESG and then the Zeon. Now, ESG actually negotiates a new treaty after it gains control of Zeon. Now, there are still the political groups of Zeon, such as the Axis. They still will be a threat in the future. So everyone that's a Homon Karn fan knows what's about to happen. We're gonna roll into Zeta Gundam. We're gonna completely skip Stardust Memory because guess what? Due to Honorable Gato being a part of Zeon and it winning, there is no need for Project Stardust. There is a whole new operation between Axis Zeon and Earth Federation remnants. These remnants will form the group called the Titans. But we'll save that for part 2. Stay tuned and subscribe to Lord Banchinex for more. And I'm going to be starting a Patreon, meaning where from this video on, I'm going to be releasing 2 videos. One here and one there. If you go to the Patreon, you'll get early access to part 2, which will be released within a day or 2 of the original posting. So, stay tuned, and I will link the Patreon in the comments. Actually, not in the comments, but the description. Deuces.